I miss newspapers. How horrible for you to find out about a friend passing away the night before on Facebook. Did you know that I found out that my own husband died on Facebook? That's right. That's how I found out my husband passed away. Now, back in the day, direct family and significant others would be told that their beloved had passed. They would then have time to process that and grieve, and then slowly but surely branch out and tell certain friends and the people that mattered the most to that person. Those people would then, of course, tell other people who would tell other people who would tell other people. And by the weekend, because I believe it was only on weekends, that the newspaper had a column called the obituaries, where all of the people that had passed away that week you could put in a photo as well, but it would be featured in the newspaper. So, and there would be a little write-up about the person, because everybody wants to know why and how. So that would usually be disclosed. They died from a fight with cancer, or there was a terrible car accident and such and so passed. But you would never find out by turning on, or you would never find out by looking through the newspaper that somebody had passed away the night before. It would have been too soon for the newspaper to get that news. And even at that, respect for the family, right? I just think it's a tragedy now that you can find out these things so quickly, and that there's consistently news being thrown at young people all day long. Newspapers gave you the chance to read the newspaper in the morning and leave for your day, and the rest of the information you would get would be something that you found out that day from a coworker or from a stranger, or just from looking around. You would have news to tell your family when you came back home at night. Maybe you had the radio playing on in the background at work, and you found out something like breaking news that some Hollywood celebrity had passed away a few nights back. But it wouldn't be splattered all over the newspaper the very next morning like it is on the internet. It's just different. Overwhelming amounts of information that the young people are getting, and half of it is not even true. It's bullshit. It's smoke and mirrors. At least a newspaper, you would have confidence in that most of the time the news that they had in there was pretty accurate. It was just absolutely unheard of that somebody would sit with a newspaper open if somebody sat down beside them. How rude. I mean, newspaper was a big, they were big, really big. I mean, it would be fanned out across your entire face. But if you got wind of the fact that somebody had just sat down next to you, you would be polite and you would fold the newspaper up and turn to them and converse. So what happened? These phones, young people say, oh, it's like their newspaper, so that they can get news. But yet they're on it every few minutes. Can you imagine if each one of those cell phones was like as giant as a newspaper used to be? How rude. Everybody would be sitting there with their faces covered with a newspaper, because that's their newspapers, right? But you wouldn't keep it open at the dinner table. You wouldn't put your newspaper down beside your plate. You would fold it up if somebody came and sat next to you. So if it was considered that rude back in the old days, why is it now acceptable that everybody's always sitting on their phones? And why do you have to consistently get more and more information? Why not just take in the information in the morning, carry on with your day, and learn information out in the world? I mean, I don't think that the younger generation is any smarter than us, because half the time you don't even know that this is valid information that you're getting online. In fact, most of the time it's bullshit. At least a newspaper, you had a pretty good inkling of the fact that it was real. It was factual information, you know? They had reporters that would go and research this stuff and do, go and interview people, talk to the police, whatever the case. So I miss newspapers, I really do. And those comic sections in the back, they were pretty fun. There was Calvin and Hobbes. I don't even remember them all. There was that Family Circus with the kids. I didn't even understand half of the comedy in those comic strips because I was so young, but it was always like I wanted to read that first. I always wanted to read the comedy. And there would be recipes in there, restaurants that were featured. There'd be coupons. You could win prizes. There was raffle tickets and stuff like that. There was coloring contests in newspapers for kids. from new businesses that would have coloring contests, and you actually, I won a coloring contest through Remax Realty back in the day. I don't even remember what I got, but it was exciting that I won a coloring contest through the newspaper.